like, kid, really? That's not what I said. I answered you. Now you must obey. So be careful what you're praying for. All right. So, like I said, it's having this long debate, and I knew at that time, God knew at that time, how weak I was, and how in this journey of having to leave the church, figure out where God was placing me next, because He didn't give me that part. He just said your assignment is done. He didn't go like Joshua and give him step by step. Your job is done, and then I still have to wait for my next assignment. But He knew then this journey would make me stronger, because it was in His strength that I would prevail. And His power was made perfect in my weakness. And we can find that in 2 Corinthians 12 and 9, reading in black and white. So, of course, it's time for me to walk in faith. I showed up and went, using God's strength to endure, using God's strength to overcome, and then even using my strength to share. Because not only can I just leave and have to leave the church, people are calling me, where are you? On vacation. Like, no, I really had to share the story. Some I could go all the way with. Some I was like, at this time God's moving us somewhere else to pray for our family. And that was just kind of that. But that, my part of my personality that's introverted, didn't want to share that at all. But I had to use God's strength to even share the story. So it took a while for my family to find our new crew, to realize that there is life outside of ministry together. We still are all three of us. My sister's family, my dad, and my husband, they all have their ministries as well. But we can still be a family. And it's not because you're not at my church that we don't love you. So it's a balance of figuring all that and healing. But putting that extra time, spending time with one another, and loving one another. And that was the reason for my story. It was to help us understand if the church building burned, if all the members left, how is this love relationship between families? Because we get so busy in the doing. We get so busy in ministry. Ministry can suck the life out of you. But do you know the person next to you really? Do you really know at Sunday dinners, let's not talk about ministry, let's not talk about the congregation, let's actually love and know one another. That was something we have to be done today. So, we're good now. But that was part of the summer I had to go through. Another great thing that we do with our family now that we're working on family dynamics is, actually before my daughters could say the words, every birthday we would take them to Torres. They were able to go down every aisle, back and forth, sometimes walking like this, and picking up the toy, picking it up, turning it around, putting it back, walking again. And the rule for us was that my husband and I weren't allowed to rush, we weren't allowed to put a time frame on it. This was their moment, their day. And so it's just, and then there's sometimes the little ones, we can't keep up. I'm just like, you see her? You see her? I hear her. Like, we couldn't keep up. And she'll come back to home base and then zip off again. But doing this with my oldest at the time, and she was 3, she found this doll that she just really, really, really just loved. And it was a pretty snazzy doll at the time. It talked, it ate, it did all kind of phrases and stuff, and then she said it looked like her. So she was really excited about this doll. And so I'm like, okay, I guess the doll is coming back home with us. And she already had tons of dolls, but this doll replaced all the dolls that she ever played with. And if anyone has little girls, you know how they are with their babies. Hugging them, loving them, playing with them, swinging them around, carrying them everywhere. It was like her life was breaking. So this doll, who she named Michelle, when Michelle came around, this was the doll of all dolls. And it's like, look, Mom, she wiggles. And her poor hands go flip, flop. And she's like, look, Mom, she can touch your toes. Flip, flop. Okay. Look, Mom, she can dance. Flip, flop. Look, Mom, she can spin. Flip, flop. I was like, look, Mom, she's running. Flip, flop. Look, Mom, she can do anything. Just make it do something. Flip, flop. I wasn't too sure this doll was going to make it. I was so worried that a limb would fall off and a neck would crack. Something was going to happen to this doll. A year goes by, flip, flop. Still ticking. 18 months go by, flip, flop. Still ticking. 3 years go by, flip, flop. Still ticking. And then the baby sister comes along. And her life mission at one point in time, she loves dolls now. But at that point in time, her love was to break the dolls. And so she comes up to me, Mom, try to let me adopt her baby. She's mine now. Michelle's mine. Look, Mom, she can spin. Flip, flop. Okay. Mom, she can touch her toes. Flip, flop. Mom, she does acrobats. And she's like flipping this doll. Flip, flop. Okay, all right, Bishop Price, I see you. This one, we were not going to withstand this child. She's going to break this doll. I knew for sure Bishop Price was not ready for her. War 2 was already timed out. Poor Michelle wasn't going to last. A year goes by. Flip, flop. Still ticking. 18 months goes by. Flip, flop. Still ticking. 4 years goes by. Takes her off the shelf, picks it back up. Flip, flop. Still ticking. Michelle here is 10 years old. And she still flips flops. She's still ticking. Now, of course, Michelle here, Bishop Price did an awesome job, honestly. She could use some washing, she could use a new hairdo, but she's still ticking. She's still flip, flop. Still ticking, right? Bishop Price built her to last. She was made for the giants and the genies of the world. She was made for this. And so even when I picked her up yesterday, I'm looking at her like, look guys, she can still spin. Still ticking. Like, okay, Mom, really? And so I can only imagine when they're in production on the Fisher Price Assembly line, the workers are doing, putting her together, thinking about the giants and the jaylees and how we can make her sturdy, how we can make her durable. And they knew she was going to be tossed, battered, stepped on, cried on, thrown, swung all the way around. But they still made her durable. They made her built to last. She was made for this. And that's the same for you. When God had us in the production line, creation, He did the very same thing. He made us for this. He made us built to last. He knew you would experience flip-flop moments. He knew one day you would experience betrayal, so He put in perseverance. He knew somewhere in this middle road, someone's experienced hurt and abandonment, so He filled it with faith. He knew on this side of the room that someone would go through some financial challenges, and so He added in determination. Family issues, we get some grace. Fear, we get encouragement. Grief, it's packing you courage. And without a doubt, because you can't escape on this side of heaven, trials, tribulations, pain, He knew we would have some flip-flop moments. Or two. But He knew that you were created to survive. He created you in His strength so that we don't need to be discouraged. And we can live with the strength to endure, the strength to overcome, and the strength to share our story. He knew because we were His creation, not only did we have a stamp of approval, that we also get His unconditional love and that inner strength, that inner peace. He knew there would be times when we would get weak, and we would have to rely on His power more than our human power, more than our human brain understood we have to. But because of His strength, you can. You are made for this. So just like Michelle, flip, flop, still together. You're going to experience different situations, but you can overcome. You can push, which I would say is pray until something happens, through it all, because victory is always on the other side. The journey can be tough, and I'm not diminishing that. Sometimes it truly is. It's hard. It's ugly. It feels unbearable. You feel like you're at the point of no return. But that is when you need to lean into His strength, dive deeper into His word, and exercise your faith in action. Faith is an action word. It's not just saying it. It's doing it. It's living it. It's breathing it. It's believing it. Exercise your faith in action and live it out loud. Surrender to His sense. So the next time you experience a situation, a life altercation, where life really feels to make you feel discouraged, your fear, and it's fear of the unsure and the unknown, you remember your inner strength and who gave you that inner strength. Remember whose daughter you are. And as his child, you are made for this. You are made to overcome. So remind yourself that I'm made for this. So it's like that saying, I got this. No, I was made for this. And not because of myself, but because of him who made me. I was made for this.
Amen.
God chose you. No matter how hard, no matter how unsure we are. God knew way back then in your mother's womb all the things you would have to endure. He knew your inner workings, he knew your joys, your sorrows. He knows them then, he knows them now, and he knows the future ones to come that we aren't able to. But he's equipped you to handle it in his strength. You are made for this.